Hidden truths, untold facts about the most infamous drug lords in history. Prepare to step into a world where power and chaos collide. A hidden realm ruled by some of the most ruthless yet fascinating figures in history. This is the story behind notorious drug lords. While their reigns of terror are well documented, there are layers to their lives that many of us have never uncovered. Before we dive in, let's make one thing clear. This is not a celebration of their deeds. Instead, it's an exploration into the paradoxical lives of drug lords who reshaped history in chilling and unimaginable ways. Drug lords are not simply criminals. They are the architects of sprawling empires built on fear, ambition, and an unrelenting pursuit of power. Figures like Pablo Escobar, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, and Griselda Blanco rose from obscurity to control not just segments of the global drug trade, but entire societies. Imagine a world where one man's decisions ripple across continents, the creation of narco-states, covert smuggling operations using submarines, and infamy that transcends their lifetimes. Their stories blur the lines between myth and reality, but beneath the surface lies an unmatched drive to rule in ways few can comprehend. But what's truly shocking? Some of these individuals didn't begin as born criminals. Many rose from poverty, fueled by desperation, ingenuity, and a dark craving for more than the rules of society would allow. It's impossible to tell this story without beginning with one of the most infamous drug lords of all time, Pablo Escobar. Known as the King of Cocaine, Escobar built one of the largest drug trafficking empires in history. With billions of dollars at his disposal, Escobar lived extravagantly, owning private zoos, palatial mansions, and even his own fleet of airplanes. But beneath the facade of excess lay paradoxes. Did you know that Escobar, despite orchestrating countless murders, was seen by some as a Robin Hood figure? He financed schools, hospitals, and public housing projects in Medellin to gain the loyalty of the city's poor. In one infamous anecdote, Escobar burned $2 million in cash during his time on the run, just to keep his daughter warm on a cold night. This small act speaks volumes. It's humanizing, yet a chilling reminder of the nearly incomprehensible level of wealth he commanded. While Escobar's story is larger than life, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's legacy is filled with jaw-dropping action. El Chapo, one of the most dangerous drug lords of the modern era, was a man obsessed with innovation. He built his empire on clever ingenuity and a knack for evasion. You might know El Chapo for his notorious prison escapes. One involved a mile-long tunnel that led directly to his cell. Equipped with ventilation and lighting, it was a masterpiece of engineering that outsmarted one of Mexico's highest security prisons. Why stop there? In another escape, he vanished from prison while hiding in a laundry cart. But El Chapo's smuggling methods were just as incredible. He utilized everything from tunnels to submarines to transport drugs across borders. His empire was global, importing and distributing drugs across North America and beyond. Yet no innovation could ultimately protect him from his downfall. If Escobar and El Chapo dominated the top tier of the drug trade, Griselda Blanco carved her place with cold-blooded ferocity. Dubbed the cocaine godmother, she was not only a pioneer in the drug trade, but also one of the most ruthless figures in its history. Griselda ran her operation like a machine, as deadly as it was efficient. It's been speculated that she ordered hundreds of murders in her quest for power, cementing her reputation as one of the deadliest women in crime. While much of her story has been sensationalized, some facts stand out. Her invention of stealth drug trafficking techniques, particularly smuggling drugs in lingerie and other garments. Her violence wasn't just a tactic, but a mindset. Griselda reportedly embraced her role as a feared matriarch, coining the phrase plata o plomo, silver or lead, to illustrate her ruthless philosophy: accept her bribes or face a bullet. Beyond their brutality, drug lords rewrote the rules of smuggling, crafting infrastructure that rivaled governments in complexity. El Chapo's tunnels alone, complete with rail systems, highlight their sophistication. But it didn't stop there. Submarines, disguised planes, and coded phone networks were all used to ship their deadly products globally. In the early days of her empire, Griselda Blanco leveraged the art of disguise, hiding drugs in bras and girdles to outsmart airport authorities. Such tactics may sound absurd, but they were brilliant and effective at the time. For true crime fans, the lavish lifestyles of drug lords often fascinate as much as their crimes. Escobar's Hacienda Nápoles is a striking example, a massive estate spanning multiple acres that included a private zoo with animals like zebras, giraffes, and even hippos. Today, those same hippos roam freely, a bizarre legacy of Escobar's lavish excess. Yet their wealth was not without its costs. While they lived in luxury, countless victims were left in poverty, addiction, and grief in the communities they impacted. Their empires were a gilded cage, built on violence with no escape. The terrifying reach of drug lords often extended far beyond their immediate circles. Escobar used his fortune to influence politics, bribing officials and even offering to pay off Colombia's national debt. The Medellin cartel held so much sway that at its height it effectively controlled the country. El Chapo's organization, the Sinaloa cartel, left a similar impact on Mexico. His operations destabilized entire regions, creating narco-states where the power of the government paled in comparison to his influence. Over time, stories of these figures have given rise to legends. Pop culture, with its films, series, and documentaries, has transformed them into almost mythic archetypes. Think about the image of Escobar sitting alone surrounded by money, an image both tragic and iconic. But separating truth from fiction is essential. Were Escobar's charitable acts genuine or calculated PR moves? Was El Chapo a genius strategist or simply a lucky manipulator of his environment? We must remember, while their lives appear dramatic and fascinating, their actions left shockwaves of devastation in their wake. Each drug lord left scars far deeper than their own immediate legacies. Communities devastated by addiction, lives lost in turf wars, families shattered, all with the human cost of their empires. The glamour surrounding them often overshadows the sheer destruction they wrought, from fueling corruption to undermining law enforcement efforts globally. While the world may marvel at their cunning, the true cost of their empire was always human suffering. At some point, every drug lord's empire begins to crumble. Escobar's death during a firefight with Colombian authorities marked the end of Medellin's reign of terror. El Chapo's capture and extradition to the United States signified a victory in the war on drugs, though his cartel persists as a major force. Even Griselda Blanco, who evaded capture for years, was finally assassinated in Colombia, marking the brutal end of her violent career. For all their power, the fall from grace is inevitable. What can we, as an audience, learn from the lives of these notorious figures? These drug lords are a testament to the complex interplay of desperation, power, and corruption. Their stories reflect society's dark corners, where ambition supersedes morality, and the cost is often paid in blood. When their lives intersect with global history, they become more than just criminals. They become symbols of excess and greed gone shockingly far. As the camera pans to a darkened corner of history, we begin to realize that the legacies of Escobar, El Chapo, and Blanco are far more than just stories. They are cautionary tales. Unforgettable, controversial, and deeply tragic, their lives challenge us to confront a world that often exists just out of sight. For true crime fans, these figures will always remain enigmas, icons of a dangerous allure that both frightens and fascinates. In the end, it reminds us that truth is often darker and stranger than fiction. Are there other hidden truths or untold stories about these figures that you think are worth exploring? Let us know in the comments. And if this deep dive left you wanting more, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next chapter in our exploration of the criminal underworld. The shadows are endless, and there's much more waiting to be uncovered.